The alien invasion had left Earth in ruins. Cities lay in ashes, and humanity was on the brink of collapse. For months, survivors had hidden in the shadows, avoiding alien patrols and struggling to find food, shelter, and hope. But amidst the destruction, a group of human scavengers made a discovery that would change everything. Out in the barren wasteland, far from the destroyed cities, there was a place no one had noticed before. It was a massive junkyard. The scavengers, a small group led by a man named Ethan, were looking for anything useful to help their community survive. They didn't expect to find much, but what they found was beyond anything they had imagined. The junkyard wasn't filled with ordinary trash. It was littered with strange, futuristic debris. Broken machines, twisted metal, and shattered alien weapons were scattered everywhere. The group had stumbled upon a dumping ground used by the aliens, a place where they threw away their old, damaged, and useless technology. To the aliens, this was just junk. But to Ethan and his team, it was something else entirely. At first, they were unsure what to make of it. The alien technology looked so advanced, so foreign, that it seemed impossible to understand. Some of the scavengers were afraid to touch it. But Ethan, who had always been a curious and determined man, wasn't willing to give up so easily. "We've been fighting for survival with sticks and stones," he said to his group, staring at a pile of shattered alien devices. "If there's even a small chance we can use this, we have to try." The others were hesitant but agreed. They knew they had no choice. The aliens were still patrolling the skies, and it was only a matter of time before they came for what was left of humanity. If there was a way to fight back, they had to find it. They began carefully gathering the alien debris, loading it onto makeshift carts, and hauling it back to their hidden camp deep in the mountains. The journey was long and dangerous, but the thought of finding a weapon against the aliens kept them going. Every piece of alien tech they found felt like a step closer to hope. Back at the camp, the scavengers laid out all the alien trash they had collected. Engineers, scientists, and even regular survivors gathered around, inspecting the strange objects. No one really knew what they were doing at first. The technology was unlike anything they had ever seen. But as they worked, as they disassembled the alien devices piece by piece, something incredible started to happen. Slowly, they began to understand. The aliens may have considered this trash, but hidden within the broken machines were powerful components, energy cells, advanced circuits, and strange materials that were stronger than anything humans had ever used. Bit by bit, the survivors learned how these pieces fit together. It wasn't easy. There were many failures. Devices would spark, short out, or explode in their hands. But the humans were determined. They had no other choice. They had to turn this alien trash into something useful, something that could fight back. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly. Ethan, who had discovered the junkyard, became one of the lead organizers, pushing everyone to keep going, even when things seemed impossible. He knew the aliens would return, and when they did, they needed to be ready. Finally, after weeks of effort, they made their first breakthrough. A team of engineers managed to convert an alien power cell into a functioning energy weapon. It was crude, not as advanced as the original alien weapons, but it worked. The humans had made a weapon from the aliens' own trash. Word spread quickly through the camp. Hope, which had been all but lost, was beginning to grow. People who had given up now saw a chance for survival, a chance to fight back. With the knowledge gained from that first success, they began creating more weapons. Energy rifles, shields, and even small explosives, all built from the discarded alien technology. The aliens had thought their trash was useless, but they had underestimated human ingenuity. The humans were using their broken tools, their discarded weapons, and turning them into instruments of war. Every piece of trash became a part of their resistance. But it wasn't just about the weapons. This discovery brought people together in a way that hadn't been seen since the invasion began. Engineers worked side by side with soldiers. Farmers and scavengers helped build the makeshift weapons. The entire camp became focused on one goal: survival. Ethan watched it all with a sense of pride. They had been beaten down, crushed by the alien invasion, but now they were rising. And it all started with the discovery of that alien junkyard. As the humans prepared for the battle they knew was coming, they also realized something important. The aliens had underestimated them. They had thought humans were weak, easily defeated, and not worth the effort. But they were wrong. Humans had a way of adapting, of using whatever was available to survive. And now, with their new weapons, they were ready to show the aliens just how wrong they were. The stage was set. The humans were armed, not with advanced technology of their own, but with the very trash the aliens had thrown away. And in their hands, that trash had become something far more dangerous than the aliens could have imagined. The battle wasn't over yet, but for the first time in months, humanity had hope. And it all began with the discovery of alien trash. The discovery of the alien junkyard was the turning point for humanity. But finding the alien trash was just the beginning. Now, the real challenge lay ahead, turning this strange advanced technology into something humans could use, something that could help them fight back. It wasn't enough to collect the junk. They had to understand it, break it down, and rebuild it into weapons. Back at the hidden camp in the mountains, the air was filled with a new energy. The survivors, once beaten and afraid, were now determined. Ethan, the leader of the scavenger team that had found the junkyard, stood in the center of the makeshift workshop, watching as engineers, scientists, and even regular people with no technical background worked together to crack the alien technology. It was a massive puzzle. The alien devices were made from materials and systems that no human had ever seen before. They didn't have manuals, and no one knew how the pieces were supposed to fit together. But humans had something far more powerful than technology: determination. They worked in shifts, day and night, disassembling the alien devices and trying to make sense of the pieces. It was frustrating at times. Many of the devices were damaged beyond repair, and some of the technology was too advanced for even the best engineers to understand. There were failures, lots of them. But each failure taught them something new. One of the first breakthroughs came from an unexpected place. Sarah, a young mechanic who had never worked with anything more advanced than car engines before the invasion, figured out how to convert an alien power cell into a functioning energy source. She'd been working on the problem for days, barely sleeping, and had gone through several failed attempts. But then, after adjusting a few circuits and reconfiguring some alien wiring, the power cell lit up. "It works!" she shouted, holding the glowing cell in her hands. The camp erupted in cheers. It was the first time in weeks that anyone had seen hope like this. With a reliable power source, they could start building weapons. Ethan congratulated Sarah and gathered everyone around. "This is just the start," he said, holding up the power cell for everyone to see. "We've got a long way to go, but this proves we can do it. We're going to turn their trash into weapons. And when we do, we're going to hit them back." The next challenge was figuring out how to weaponize the alien technology. They had plenty of broken alien guns and equipment, but it wasn't as simple as fixing them. Most of the alien weapons were designed for hands and creatures much different from humans. Some of the guns required energy sources they didn't have. Others were too complicated to repair. But that didn't stop the engineers from trying. One team worked on reverse engineering the alien energy rifles. They stripped down the broken weapons, trying to understand how the firing mechanisms worked. It was slow progress, but after days of trial and error, they managed to build a prototype, a crude but functioning energy rifle made from alien parts. It wasn't as powerful as the original alien weapons, but it was a start. The engineers ran tests on the rifle, firing it at targets set up in a safe area of the camp. The first few shots were unstable, and one of the rifles even exploded. But they learned from every mistake. With each test, the rifle became more reliable, more dangerous. Soon, they had a small arsenal of working energy weapons. Meanwhile, other teams were working on different types of weapons. Some were focused on creating energy shields to protect the camp from alien attacks. These shields were made from repurposed alien drones and scrap metal, but they provided much-needed defense. Another group, led by an explosives expert named Tom, was working on converting alien energy cells into bombs. It was risky work. One wrong move, and the whole camp could be blown to pieces. But Tom was cautious and experienced. He knew how to handle explosives, even if they were alien in origin. After weeks of effort, the humans had managed to create a small but powerful stockpile of weapons. The energy rifles were the most valuable. They had the range and firepower to take down alien patrols from a distance. The shields provided protection against energy blasts, and the bombs gave them the ability to strike back in a way the aliens wouldn't expect. As they prepared for the coming fight, the survivors in the camp began to train. It wasn't just soldiers who were learning to use the weapons. Everyone was involved. Farmers, mechanics, scavengers, they all took turns learning how to fire the rifles and set up the shields. The humans knew they had to work together if they were going to survive. Everyone had a role to play. Ethan, who had become the unofficial leader of the resistance, stood at the center of the training ground, watching as people fired the alien energy rifles at target. He couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. They had come so far from the day they found the junkyard. What had once seemed like an impossible challenge was now a reality. They had turned the aliens' trash into weapons, powerful weapons that could help them fight back. But the fight wouldn't be easy. They knew the aliens were still out there, patrolling the skies, searching for any signs of human resistance. The humans had to stay hidden for now, but they also had to prepare for the moment when they would strike. One night, as the camp sat around the fire, Ethan gathered everyone for a meeting. The mood was tense, but hopeful. The weapons were ready, but now they needed a plan. "We've done the impossible," Ethan said, his voice steady. "We've taken their trash and turned it into something that can fight back. But we can't stop here. The aliens still think we're weak, that we're hiding. They don't know what's coming." He paused, looking around at the faces of the survivors. Some were scared, but all of them were determined. "When the time is right, we're going to show them what humans are capable of. We're going to hit them hard, and we're going to hit them where it hurts." They thought their trash was useless. They thought we were defeated. But they were wrong. The camp erupted in cheers once again. The humans had found hope in the most unlikely place, the trash of their enemies. And now, with their weapons ready, they were preparing for the fight of their lives. As the night wore on, Ethan stood on the edge of the camp, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the aliens were waiting, unaware of the storm that was about to hit them. Ethan smiled to himself. The aliens had underestimated humanity. And soon, they would regret it. The aliens were confident. Their invasion of Earth had gone exactly as planned, or so they thought. Their advanced technology had easily overpowered Earth's defenses. The skies were theirs, and humanity, as far as they knew, had been crushed. But deep within the human resistance camp, something had changed. Word of their victory hadn't reached the aliens yet. They had no idea that the humans, using nothing more than the trash left behind from their defeated technology, had managed to turn the tables. As alien patrols continued to search the land for any remaining human settlements, the humans were quietly preparing to strike back. In an isolated control room aboard an alien command ship, General Viren was reviewing reports from the invasion teams. Everything seemed routine until a strange report appeared on his screen. A squad of scouts, sent to investigate a disturbance near the human mountains, had gone silent. The last transmission was brief and filled with confusion. Viren replayed it. "We found something. It looks like... No, it can't be human tech. How could they..." The transmission ended abruptly. The general's green reptilian eyes narrowed. There was no way humans could have reverse-engineered their technology. They were far too primitive for that. Perhaps it was just a malfunction, or the scouts had run into a natural hazard. Still, Viren couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling creeping over him. He ordered another squad to investigate. Meanwhile, on the ground, the resistance was preparing for its next move. Ethan, Sarah, and the other leaders stood over a holographic map of the region. They had just received intelligence that alien forces were closing in on their location. It was only a matter of time before they were discovered. "We have to move soon," Ethan said, his voice calm but determined. "If they find us here, it's over. But if we strike first, we might catch them off guard." Sarah, still buzzing from the success of converting the alien power cells, nodded in agreement. "The weapons are ready. We've tested everything. We can do this." The plan was simple but risky. They would lure an alien patrol into the open, using one of their makeshift weapons, and hit them with everything they had. It was a chance to prove that their reverse-engineered weapons worked and to send a message to the aliens that humanity wasn't defeated. Back aboard the alien command ship, General Vyrn waited for the second squad's report. Minutes turned into hours, and still, there was no response. Something was wrong. Vyrn slammed his fist down on the console, his frustration growing. "Send a third squad," he barked. "And this time, make sure they're heavily armed." The general was beginning to feel uneasy. Reports were coming in from other regions too unusual activity from what should have been a decimated human population. Could the humans be mounting some kind of resistance? He found the thought laughable. Even if they had managed to survive, they were no match for the superior alien forces. But as more time passed and yet another patrol failed to report back, Vyrn couldn't ignore the reality any longer. He summoned his top advisors to the war room. "We've lost contact with 3 patrols," Vyrn said, his voice cold. "Something is happening down there, and we need to find out what. I want eyes on the ground." One of the advisors, a tall alien with a smooth blue complexion, spoke up. "General, it's possible the humans are using some form of guerrilla warfare. We underestimated their resourcefulness. Before maybe we're doing it again." Vyrn growled in frustration. "I don't care what they're doing. I want it stopped." On Earth, the Resistance's plan was underway. They had managed to draw an alien patrol close to the camp, using the glowing energy of one of their modified alien power cells as bait. Ethan, hidden with a team of fighters, watched through binoculars as the aliens approached cautiously, their weapons raised. "Wait for it," Ethan whispered, gripping his own weapon tightly. The aliens moved closer and closer, until they were within range. "Now," Ethan shouted. The humans unleashed their modified weapons, firing energy blasts and projectiles made from the very alien technology they had scavenged. The aliens, completely unprepared for such an attack, were thrown into chaos. Some of them fell instantly, their shields overwhelmed by the barrage of human firepower. The remaining aliens tried to fight back, but their confusion and panic worked against them. They had never expected humans to be able to fight back like this. It wasn't just that the humans had weapons, it was that they were using alien technology better than even the aliens had. Within minutes, the battle was over. The alien patrol lay defeated, their bodies scattered across the ground. The humans, victorious but cautious, moved quickly to gather any surviving equipment. "They didn't know what hit them," Sarah said, her face flushed with excitement. "We actually did it." Ethan nodded, but his expression was more serious. "This is just the beginning. They'll be back, and they'll be angrier than ever." In the alien command ship, General Vyrn finally received the news he had been dreading. The humans had not only survived, they had fought back. And worse, they had used alien technology to do it. Vyrn slammed his fist down again, cracking the surface of the control panel. "Impossible," he hissed. "How could these primitives have adapted to our technology so quickly?" One of his advisors, trying to remain calm, responded, "It seems they've been scavenging our equipment. They're resourceful, General. We may have underestimated their capabilities." Vyrn's eyes burned with anger. The humans had embarrassed him, and he couldn't let that stand. He gave the order to double the patrols and prepare for a full-scale assault. He would crush this so-called resistance once and for all. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted in the general's mind. The humans had done the impossible once. Could they do it again? The skies over Earth were filled with the ominous hum of alien warships. The Intergalactic Council had finally decided to crush the human resistance once and for all. It wasn't a small patrol this time. It was an armada. Hundreds of alien ships, each equipped with devastating weapons, were now approaching the planet.in, the human resistance base. The mood was tense but determined. Ethan, Sarah, and their team were ready. They had been preparing for this moment for months, knowing it was only a matter of time before the aliens sent their full force. But unlike before, this time, the humans had something the aliens weren't expecting: their own weapons, crafted from scavenged alien technology. The makeshift war room was buzzing with activity as Ethan and Sarah looked over the battle plans. A large holographic map showed the approaching alien fleet. "They're not holding back this time," Sarah said, her voice steady but laced with concern. "We've never faced anything this big." Ethan clenched his fists. "We've survived this long. We're not backing down now." The alien fleet had reached Earth's atmosphere. From the lead ship, General Vyrn watched the planet below, his expression cold and unforgiving. The humans had humiliated him by turning his own technology against him. Now, he was here to finish them off personally. "Prepare the weapons," Vyrn ordered. "I want this planet reduced to ashes." The alien ships moved into formation, their powerful energy cannons aimed at the surface. It was a terrifying sight, so many ships, so much firepower, all focused on a single planet. But before they could fire, something unexpected happened. From the surface of Earth, bright streaks of light shot up into the sky. They weren't alien ships, they were human-made missiles, powered by the very energy cells the humans had scavenged from the alien wreckage. The alien fleet hadn't anticipated this level of resistance. They expected humans to hide, not fight. "What is that?" one of Vyrn's officers asked, alarmed. The general's eyes widened in disbelief. "It's human technology. They've somehow managed to create weapons from our systems." Before they could react, the human missiles hit their mark. Several alien ships were damaged or destroyed in a flash of brilliant explosions. The battle had begun. On the ground, Ethan and Sarah watched as their missiles struck the alien fleet. There was no time to celebrate, though. The aliens would regroup quickly, and their next attack would be even fiercer. "Get everyone to their battle stations," Ethan ordered. "This is it. We fight until the end." The resistance fighters spread out, taking their positions in the underground bunkers and trenches. They were vastly outnumbered, but they had the advantage of surprise and determination. And most importantly, they had learned how to fight back using the enemy's technology. In the sky, the alien fleet was scrambling to recover from the unexpected human counterattack. General Vyrn barked orders at his crew, his voice filled with frustration. "Return fire! Destroy those launch sites!" The alien ships unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, targeting the locations where the human missiles had originated. On the ground, the resistance fighters braced for impact as the blasts tore through the air. Several of their launchers were hit, but the humans kept firing back, refusing to give in the chaos of the battle. The humans had one more trick up their sleeve. Sarah had managed to modify one of the aliens' energy shields, creating a protective barrier around their main command center. It wouldn't last forever, but it could buy them enough time to regroup and launch a final strike. "Shields holding for now," Sarah reported, her hands flying across the control panel. "But we need to move fast," Ethan nodded. "We launch everything we have. This is our last chance." The battle raged on for hours. Alien ships swarmed the skies, firing relentlessly at the human forces. But the humans, despite their smaller numbers, fought back with a fierce determination that stunned the aliens. They had learned how to use the alien weapons to their advantage, and their makeshift war machines, powered by scavenged alien tech, were holding their own. In the alien command ship, General Vyrn was growing increasingly desperate. He had never imagined that the humans could fight like this. They were supposed to be weak, primitive. But now, his fleet was suffering heavy losses, and the humans were still standing. "How are they doing this?" Vyrn growled, slamming his fists on the console. "How are they turning our own weapons against us?" One of his officers, his voice shaking with fear, replied, "General, we didn't account for their resourcefulness. They've adapted faster than we thought." Vyrn snarled in frustration. He had underestimated the humans, and now his entire invasion was at risk of failing. But he wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. On the ground, the resistance fighters were preparing for one final assault. They knew the alien fleet wouldn't give up easily, and their shields were starting to weaken. But they had one last plan: a coordinated strike using all of their remaining modified weapons. Ethan stood at the front of the command center, addressing his team. "This is it. We hit them hard, and we hit them fast. We're not just fighting for survival, we're fighting for our planet, our people. Let's show them what humanity is made of." With that, the humans launched their final attack. Missiles, energy blasts, and modified alien weapons fired into the sky, overwhelming the alien fleet. The aliens, caught off guard by the sheer intensity of the human assault, began to falter. Ship after ship was hit, their defenses crumbling under the relentless barrage. General Viren, watching from his command ship, realized that his fleet was losing the battle. This can't be happening, Vern muttered, his voice filled with disbelief. But it was happening. The humans had turned the tide of the war, using nothing but their ingenuity, courage, and the very weapons the aliens had left behind. As the last alien ship retreated into space, the humans on the ground erupted into cheers. They had done the impossible. They had defended Earth against a technologically superior enemy and won. Ethan and Sarah stood together, watching the alien fleet disappear into the stars. "We did it," Sarah said, a mix of exhaustion and relief in her voice. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, we did. But this isn't the end. They'll be back." Sarah smiled, her eyes filled with determination. "And when they do, we'll be ready." The big battle was over, but the war for Earth's future had only just begun.